Please, with a resounding applause, let's make welcome our keynote speaker, principal consultant at DKO Consulting with almost 3 decades of professional experience, Dolapo Kuye Otegbayi. A round of applause. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you all for being here and also for inviting me to share my experience on innovation at scale, how FMCG innovates at scale. I just want to say here that, again, I'm not a Scrum Master. Of course, we can use the methodology, or we've used the methodology frequently in FMCG, so I don't expect that there will be so much difference. I'm going to be very honest and authentic here, so I will say it as it is and how I have experienced it. So there's really no theory at all. It's all about what I've gained in the past 25 so years in FMCG, and also having hands-on on innovation, product development, and the rest of it. In FMCG, innovation is really not about ideas, to be honest. So at the end of the day, we might see the products out there with consumers. Can you move to the next slide? Okay, so, well, this is me. You can also scan the code. It will take you to the link to LinkedIn page if you want to know more about me, some of the projects that I've worked on in the past and all. So because of time constraints, we just go on to the next slide. Okay. So as I was saying, innovation is not about ideas in FMCG. And that I learned also the hard way. And I'm sure some of you here share the same sentiment with me. So sometimes it's not about the beautiful products that eventually gets to the desk or to the homes of consumers and all. But in all honesty, I have come to realize that innovation is about surviving reality. Reality in the market, reality in the organization, managing complex stakeholders and managing complex processes as well. And we are going to talk about it. So it goes beyond the beautiful ideas and the concepts that we bring to life, but it's really the end-to-end of the value chain. So if we go on to the next slide, you realize that in FMCG as well, when you talk about innovation or when you want to conceive a new project or a new product, if you want to launch a new product, usually it's really about, even as teams, what comes to mind? Say, oh yeah, and Sam already said it too, it must be fast. And fast in many contexts means speed. You know, delivering a 2 years project in 6 months or 3 months, and doing it in such a way that you manage costs, you manage time, and you also release the product at quality. It's also about creativity. Many people think it's about being creative. I have the best packaging. My product is the best. I have the best process to bring this to life and all. And also is about flexibility. But the truth is that this is not all, and this is not really the bane, at least from my own experience, when you talk about between illusion and reality. Sometimes you go into a project thinking, yeah, easy bit, that you want me to launch. For example, there's a big pack of a product out there, 500 grams of milk powder or detergent, for example, and then somebody wants you to launch a 25-gram sachet. How difficult can that be? It should be as easy as telling the supplier to fill in, produce a foil of 25 grams, fill it in, take it to the distributors, and it's already in trade. But in reality, it's not like that. What I have come to learn, and I will share based on my experience, is that innovation is actually very expensive. It's very expensive, even conceiving the product. Thank you. You know, sometimes you find out that a small sachet product is more expensive than the big one. You find out that investing in the lines, in the packaging line, in the production line, in the route to market is more expensive. Another thing that I've also realized is that operationally and the complexity of managing stakeholders. So if, for example, you work in a multinational or global corporation where you have your packaging supplier based somewhere in China or in India, or you have the product sourcing coming from Australia or the Netherlands or wherever. And you also need to work with the logistic company that is distributing the product to as far as Sokoto, as far as Maiduguri, and all the challenges on the. So you realize that it's also, when we talk about innovation in FMCG, in addition to being expensive, it's also operational. And in all honesty, I've also had experiences where sometimes, if you are not careful, is also irreversible. It's irreversible, especially if you launch a product, as I said, and for whatever reason, the line was wrong, and you've produced all the packaging materials of billions of naira, and it can never be used. That means that you must destroy those products or probably go back to the drawing board. So I would say that, yes, for many people in FMCG that have gotten their hands burnt, you develop a sexy product on paper, on the drawing board. Can we do it? Yes, we can. Are you sure? Yes, we can. But at the end of the day, when you see the product, it's looking very far. So it becomes what you ordered, or how do you say it? What you bought versus... Thank you. It's very common in FMCG as well. So what's very important is that every FMCG innovation balances. To be successful, we always ensure that we balance. We balance speed. So yes, speed. I'll still come to examples of what does speed mean and how can this be done. You balance risk. And I don't know if you do it here a lot, but in FMCG, I would even put it on number one, that consumer truth. Most cases, most times, you don't move if there's no insight into why you are doing this. Some people call it market insights, consumer truth, whatever name you give to it. And maybe here you say you meet a need. What is the need? So if there is no need, wow, then probably you are running on high risk. And also scale. And scale is relative. One needs to be careful as well. And I'll come to it. Sometimes we live in an illusion, even in this room. I have been in many C-level meetings where you see leaders boasting about their innovation. But if you go out and ask the security guy, yeah, have you seen that product? The guy doesn't know what you are talking about. He has never seen it. So that's leadership illusion, thinking that whatever that you produced has already gotten its mass appeal. So all of this must be balanced to have a successful launch. Now, again, as I said earlier on, there's a difference between failure and reality. I don't know, and maybe I'm just generalizing it and oversimplifying the fact that in tech, could it be, so I want to be polite because I don't want to be held responsible, could it be that when things don't go wrong, is it easily fixed? For example, because sometimes, even in the banking industry, you just hear, yeah, we are downtime. We get SMS messages to tell us that, sorry, the system is down. And probably in another few hours or a day or two max, you say, yeah, we are back. It's been resolved. So you can go about your normal duty. Yeah. But in all honesty, in FMCG, the risk is extremely high. I'll tell you a story before we go to another slide. I remember many years ago, I was responsible for relaunching an old, not old, but not young as well, the brand 3 Crowns. Then I was responsible for relaunching it. I was a junior brand manager, very new, eager to win, succeed, make a difference, because I didn't even like that word, junior brand manager. I wanted to quickly evolve into brand manager and something else. So what did I do? We developed this beautiful packaging. The agency that did it was based in the Netherlands, the state-of-the-art label design, and all that. Thank God for my life that time. And what's happened? I made sure that the designs was signed off by my line managers, and the bureaucracy is very long from me to everybody signing it. Because when the labels were delivered, over 15 million then or 20 million pieces of label from the Netherlands imported. It was wrong. Everything was wrong. And I was sweating, even in the AC, because I didn't know what to say. And, for some companies, it's quality or nothing. So what happened? Well, eventually, by the time you look for who signed and they saw their signatures, they doused the tension, and say, don't do it again. Now put this process in place. But at the end of the day, we launched with a label that was not the best. And then it was later on compensated. But that is even small, because sometimes destroying inventory globally in FMCG is huge. And it's not done in the backyard. It's done with the supervision of government, and it's a lot of money. So when products fail, the inventory could be products, it could be packaging, raw material, and many more. So that's why it's very risky, and you need to take your time to get it right. Next slide, please. So, consumer truth. Data says something. And sometimes data is also not always the truth. And you will get to see. We thought consumers wanted it. We did the research. Everybody said the top 2 boxes, extremely satisfied and satisfied, making up about 90%. And so let's go for it, guys. Yeah! At the end of the day, you launch the product, month 1, month 2. Yeah, we've not gotten distribution. We are still work in progress. We are working on it. Month 6, you only see it close to the MD's house or the MT's house. In other locations, the product is not available. What's going on? What's happening? And then you realize that data is not always the truth. Why? Because we thought research is showing us that consumers want it. But at the end of the day, it was tested internally and all, but the reality is that they won't pay for it. Next slide. Scale. When we talk about scale as well, you see that, like I talked about distribution. Yeah, when we were conceiving this product, the project team, we went towards ShopRite. When we got to ShopRite, we just stood and were observing. And then we saw people picking our product. So when they picked it in ShopRite, at Game, at Just Right, we've gotten the whole of Nigeria. I can say, and then somebody will say, yes, I like it. One in every store. And then before you know what's happening, you realize that, yes, the product is always in those 10 stores or wherever, but when you look at it on a wider scale, it lacks distribution. Why? Because there's a problem with the consumer truth. We thought consumers, they drink. So an insight in FMCG, for example, is that all our friends from other markets, they will tell you, yeah, the milk, I drink it straight. When I'm thirsty, I drink it straight. And every time we keep saying in FMCG, Nigerians don't drink milk straight. You must add the milk to something. And then you must add it to your pap, to your cereal, to your whatever. And then somebody will say, no, do it, drink it straight. Give it 500 mils. And at the end of the day, there are issues. There are issues either with distribution, there are issues with pricing. There is a whole lot of issues that the one sexy concept that you had now becomes a waste or something that is no longer existing, even 6 to 1 year into launch. So scale is also a challenge in FMCG. Let me tell you a story. So I was responsible many years ago for the 60th anniversary of Peak Evaporated Milk to look at something innovative. And in FMCG, let's be honest, sometimes innovative is not like the way tech people say it. Ordinarily adding something, like a small benefit is already innovation for us. So to celebrate the 60th anniversary then, we thought, and to be honest with you, there's a lot of insight as well that says that the 2 dimples on most cans that consumers are tired of hitting it with nails or knife or whatever is not healthy, and so give us something very easy and accessible. Fine. So there was the easy open. It's also very common in other markets. So it's not necessarily new all over the world. And then we now asked ourselves again, oh, but if you do that, then you are not able to preserve the milk because the opening is now wider than when you use your nails or whatever, and then you tear from the label and stick it on it. So why don't we just do plastic caps, and put it on it, and let's just go ahead. So yes, the insight was convenience, and the strategy was, let's elevate the brand a little and make it premium. Next slide. And so we did. And for your information, the leads was also imported from the Netherlands. And strangely, why? Because in Nigeria, there is no cylinder or whatever that is called standard one, and so the leads are not available. It was also customized for that product itself. And at the end of the day, consumers say, no way, I'm not going to pay 10 naira for this lead. I didn't ask you for it. So why are you giving it to me? Did I complain that I'm not happy with the one I was using before? And if you're going to give it to me, even in your 60th anniversary, why should I pay premium for it? So I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that. So at the end of the day, just after 6 months, and by the way, when the line was adapted, it took almost 6 months to adapt the line for this plastic cap and the easy open, but it took less than 4 weeks to get the feedback from consumers that, sorry, go back to the old packaging. And so at the end of the day, those leads were never used. Either the can one, the easy open, and also the plastic one, everything destroyed. Next slide. Next slide, I've talked on this. So yeah, another one. So sorry, I also had introductions that were successful anyways, but I just thought I should share the ones that... Okay, so sometimes as well, I've realized that you might have good ideas in FMCG, but also the timing is very wrong. And this timing wrong is not necessarily the timing operationally, which I'll share, but also consumer evolution. Sometimes when you say, wow, this product came at the wrong time, but is needed. Maybe probably 10 years down the line, you now see there's a clamor for it. People are asking, oh, why don't you innovate in this? Forgetting that sometimes that innovation was done like 15 years ago, but the market was not ready or prepared for it. So in this particular case, again, somebody will look at it, this should be very simple. With how advanced we are in Nigeria, how can you not put evaporated milk in a sachet? But I can tell you that this was first of its kind all over the world. And it took almost 6 years to get it, to develop, to put liquid milk from can into a sachet. The innovation was delayed almost 4 to 5 times, and even for the lines itself, it took almost 3 years to put the lines together, and the factory and all. So again, it was not launched into it was launched into the market. It had other issues, and then, as usual, it didn't fail, but it went to sleep. Next slide. So, as I said, the equipment lead time was up to 2 years. Packaging constraints. So this was a special packaging as well. First of its kind. Only few suppliers can produce it. In Nigeria, manufacturing limitations and all. So in all honesty, what you see is, yes, you can go to the next slide. Sometimes, yes, in FMCG, you might come up with a plan where you want to bridge your projects or your innovation to say, okay, why don't we import this product first while the local factory or whatever is being set up, and then subsequently we transfer everything to local. Then this last idea, just to share as well, this story 3, is I want to, at least this one was a successful one. And it was also based on consumer truth. So the consumer truth is that in Nigeria, and we all know it. So if I'm going to, maybe it's going to be new insight for my two gentlemen there, but it's common knowledge here that you want tea does not mean tea. It means beverage, and it could be hot or cold. So the insight for the introduction of this particular concept is that, look, yes, it's a 3-in-1 cocoa. You are too fast, sir. That you are a 3-in-1 product concept, but the way you position your product sometimes, and if you do it in line with the consumer truth, can help to increase your chances of success. So here in Nigeria, everything is tea. And then somebody will say, oh, you want tea? Do you want cocoa, coffee, or whatever, and all that? So, okay, that's not me, thank goodness. Next slide. So consumer insight don't speak your category language, they speak your language. And in innovation and in FMCG, if you are driving at insights, you need to continue to dig deep and deep until you get that language that is synonymous and common, and also interpretative of what the launch or what your concept is all about. Next slide. Another observation that I've made in FMCG when it comes to innovation, and I said it earlier, is that sometimes leadership overrides reality. Next slide. I've seen many CEOs that came with their own ideas, and they were not interested in what was consumers saying, what is the lead time and all. Just do it. It worked in India. In India, when we did this in 3 weeks or 3 months, the concept came to life, and so bring it to life in Nigeria as well. But I can tell you that I've also seen 8 out of those ideas failing. Why? Because the ideas didn't even get the popular approval in-house, internally, before you even launched it out there. So ego plays a lot of role in FMCG as well, and that's why innovation fails. So you have internal validation. And please, who are you to tell your MD that the idea is wrong or it won't work? So you realize at the end of the day, in such meetings, he becomes the creative director, he becomes the product manager, and then he says, all of us will like, it will work, I believe so, you know. But at the end of the day, it fails. Next slide. So that is also reality, that the market is the final decider of whether your product is going to be successful or not, and not leadership, not strategy, and sometimes not data. Next slide. So what FMCG gets right, what I've seen in my past years that I've seen that we've gotten right, next slide, are the following. 1, consumer first. In many instances, many instances, consumer research, continuous study, observation, going out, market visits, in-home visits, focus group discussion, you know, and all that. So it's always starting with behavior. What behavior do you want to change? What behavior do you want people to adapt? What change do you want to happen? So it's not really about, it's not an inside-out thing. It's really outside-in. Commercial reality. Commercial reality also means that whatever product that you launch, at the end of the day, it must be able to stand the test of the market. Whether it's your pricing, products have failed because of wrong pricing. Products have also succeeded because of right pricing. Whether in your margin, you know, and it could be in the margin in the value chain or also your own margin internally. What channel do you want to put your product? Is it, in our own case now, is it on the go? Is it in superstore? Is it in open market? So defining and identifying the right channel that you want your product to be is very important. Validate early. If it's not working, it's not working. Put the smelly fish on the table. I'm sorry, we tried it, it didn't work. Let's count our losses, it's sad. Let's take our learning, take a do a postmortem and move on. I would advise, and we don't usually do it, that it happens after launch. By that time, when you go to your warehouses, you see inventory of finished goods and packaging or raw material. So that's very risky. Alignment. There is a popular and unpopular word in FMCG, especially where innovation is concerned, is alignment. You must align. It's frustrating, it's annoying, but alignment drives progress. It drives success. Align with marketing, supply chain, sales, everybody, so that you all work in unison. Then be disciplined in the decision making as well. If it's not working, as I said, kill it immediately. Don't let it go beyond. And that's why they don't do it enough, but it's always encouraged. Test markets, isolated areas. Test it in Ikeja. Test it in Can I go on? Okay. Thank you. So he has killed it early. Okay, so, kill it early, scale fast, don't waste time. So if it's ramping up, and there's something called city by city approach. I like it a lot. I can launch a new product. I'll start first in Lagos. If even within Lagos, I choose selected areas in Lagos, from Lagos to Ogun to Hello? Yeah. Okay. So take learning as you go. So while scaling fast, take learning and use it to improve the other rollouts. Then no emotional attachment. I've come to learn that. Even if it's your product, sometimes you just need to take the hard call. I've done it several times. Yeah, it didn't work, fine. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies. Let's go out for dinner. It didn't work, but guys, don't sleep on it. Come up with another ideas. As long as you are in tune and in touch with the realities of your target market, your target audience, your consumers, then it should go well. Next slide. So what FMCG gets wrong that probably they can learn from you as well. Next slide. Too slow. In general, let's be honest, in FMCG, our innovation process is usually too slow. I have been responsible as an innovation manager to manage the innovation funnel. And you will see a lot of new products coming in, but you will see one or two at the end of the funnel. And even that one or two has not seen the light of day. It's still cooking up, and the bureaucracy, the bottleneck, approval process. And it gets worse if you are working in a multinational corporation, because the global team, the regional team, they must get the approval and all. Or sometimes it says, okay, fine, let's first test it in Indonesia, Nigeria, you wait. Or let's test it in Pakistan, or let's, Ghana and all that. So it's very slow. It should improve if it takes in the Scrum approach, for example. Too safe sometimes. Yeah, we say we are not bold and we are not audacious. That's why it's becoming more like the sea of sameness, as they say. The sea of sameness is the same thing. So you look around and you say your competitors, but at the end of the day, you all look alike, like you are wearing the same ashwebi. And what happened is because of fear of failure. So it's like, let's keep it simple. Let's keep it safe, and that. Then past success trapped. What worked before? Let's just keep it to what my predecessors worked on. Let's not be adventurous. There's no time for that, and I don't have the luxury of time. Insight gap. Researches, yes, as I said, could be done, but at the end of the day, everybody does not want to be the one to say, I'm the one that decided we launched this product. So at the end of the day, you have heaps and books of different market research reports, but nobody reads them, and they don't even use it to innovate. Next slide. So, FMCG look of success. FMCG innovation reality model. As I said, consumer truth, very important. Commercial viability. Can we do it? Should we do it? If we do it, is it sustainable? Operational readiness. You must be always ready, and discipline speed as well. Discipline speed means even while conscious speed, as I take it, be conscious in your risk taking. Next slide. So Speed truths, one thing about speed truth is that speed without discipline equals to waste, but discipline without speed also translates to irrelevance. So the truth is that both is required. Both is required. And so bridge to Scrum. So what does this mean outside of FMCG? I'm rushing because I now have like 5 minutes or less than. Next slide. So your backlog is not your market. That's what I will say. Your backlog is not your market. So where you are coming from does not mean is where you are going. Speed without reality is waste. You know, so you take speed, you pause a little, look holistically, and then you continue to move. Testing without behavior change is noise. So whatever innovation that you develop, if it does not meet a need or if it does not drive a positive behavior amongst your target market, then it's more or less like making noise. Alignment scales, velocity does not. So align with all your relevant stakeholders, whether they are internal or external. And yeah, you can go to the next slide. Product does not fail because of bad ideas. That's what I've learned. It doesn't fail. They fail because the system was not ready, or the system failed to adapt to it. And probably again, because it lacks consumer truths. So innovation is about moving right at speed, doing it within a system. The system does not mean it must be in a room. It's a complex system, we all know that. And be sure that the system can support it. I think that is all. In FMCG, we say we don't launch products. We test truths based on what consumer says, and we adopt it, and we innovate in it. We launch it, so we test truth, and the market always answers, whether you're on the right track or you're on the wrong track. I think, yeah.